You know her well. She's gotten an entire league to hate this white woman, Caitlin Clark, and she's helped all of them try to foul her hard. Ladies and gentlemen, Angel Reese, Sportswoman of the Year. I mean,
let's be honest.
What's going on, Hutton? What is going on?
Caitlin Clark's probably happy about this. Congratulations. She's already bent the knee once.
Yeah.
Angel Reese was named Sportswoman of the Year. Angel Reese, the woman with a retarded offensive basketball game, a woman who's an absolute embarrassment. And this is the second year in a row that she's been named Sportswoman of the Year by the BET Awards. Why? Because she antagonizes white Christian men and conservatives. She trolls Caitlin Clark. And so what's in the best interest of black people and black women is put on the back burner so that we control Caitlin Clark, so that we control white men, so we can antagonize and annoy white people.
Angel Reese has just joined Serena Williams as the only other athlete to win this award 3 times. So a ton of athletes performed amazing this year, such as Simone Biles, who always does well, and Coco Gauff, who just won the French Open final. But it was Angel Reese who just won her 3rd BET award for Sportswoman of the Year. And this has caused a lot of controversy because WNBA fans are saying that there's no way that she deserved this. To put it in context, here are her shooting stats. In 2024, she was 164 for 419, and most of those were layups.
Do you think if there was a white entertainment television and they awarded Caitlin Clark with Sportswoman of the Year, that she would then turn it over to Angel Reese? Given how she's bent the knee, I cannot accept this award from white entertainment television, WET, as we will now call it. I will not accept this WET award for Sportswoman of the Year because of all the hard work that went into establishing the WNBA as a powerhouse that is yet to turn a profit after year after year. And I have to give it to an amazing African-American woman instead, who I owe all of my success to, Angel Reese. She is now the recipient, Hutton, for at least for this show, of the BET Sportswoman of the Year and the WET Sportswoman of the Year.
Wow.
Because Caitlin Clark would probably hand her the trophy.
The WET.
So she wouldn't get fouled too hard whenever she comes back from whatever the hell this injury she has is right now. Well, only to get injured again.
Well,
I am pissed off for greatness today.
A woman who's an absolute embarrassment to the WNBA because she's getting so much attention and she's so unskilled, she confirms nearly every stereotype about women's basketball. But this woman, who can barely make layups, is named the Sportswoman of the Year. Why?
Let's be honest. When the BET Sportswoman of the Year was announced, nobody was shocked to see Angel Reese's name pop up. She's been the centerpiece of some of the biggest headlines in women's basketball all year, for better or worse. But while most fans either celebrated or shrugged at the news, one person apparently did not take it so well, and that person is none other than Brittney Griner. According to sources close to the league and recent locker room chatter, Griner wasn't just annoyed, she was reportedly furious. And not just because of the award itself, but because of what the award represents. In her mind, it's yet another example of style over substance, drama over dominance, and headlines over hard work. Griner, a longtime veteran of the league and one of the most physically imposing forces in recent memory, reportedly told teammates that giving this award to Angel Reese was, in her words, an embarrassment to the sport. While she didn't issue a public statement, multiple insiders claim she voiced strong opinions behind the scenes, questioning whether it was time for awards to start reflecting true excellence instead of popularity metrics. To understand this tension, we need to go back a few weeks. The buzz surrounding Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has consumed every WNBA conversation. Whether it's Twitter debates, ESPN headlines, or sports radio segments, these two athletes are the names that sell. Reese brings the swagger, the fire, the attitude. And Clark, she brings the highlight reels and record-breaking numbers. But what's been missing from all of this is the acknowledgement of players like Brittney Griner, who, despite controversy and comeback challenges, still commands respect from veterans, coaches, and even critics. Her recent return to the court wasn't just about basketball, it was about redemption, resilience, and reclaiming her place in a league that has changed drastically in her absence. So, when Angel Reese was handed the BET Sportswoman of the Year title for a third straight year, it didn't just feel like another media moment to Griner. It felt like a slap in the face, not just to her, but to every player who's been grinding away behind the scenes, putting up numbers, staying out of the drama, and representing the league with consistency. Griner's alleged reaction didn't stop at criticism either. Word around the league is that she actually contacted BET officials, asking whether it would be appropriate to publicly decline future consideration for their awards. Some insiders even claim she jokingly suggested that the trophy should be revoked and reevaluated, prompting wild speculation that she wanted the award to be confiscated entirely. Now, to be fair, there's no hard evidence that Griner made such a formal request. But the rumors have taken off, and the narrative has become impossible to ignore. Was Brittney Griner being dramatic, or was she expressing a deeper truth that many in the league are afraid to say out loud? See, the problem isn't just about Angel Reese winning an award, it's about what the award says. Reese is undoubtedly a star, that's not up for debate. But her numbers don't match her headlines. Her team is still struggling. She's had more viral moments off the court than winning ones on it, and yet she's the one who gets the flowers. Griner, and others like her, view this trend as a dangerous shift in the culture of the league. It's becoming less about basketball and more about buzz, less about grind and more about gimmicks. And that's where the clash with Caitlin Clark comes back into play, because for all the media attention Clark receives, her performance actually backs it up. She's breaking viewership records and changing the landscape of the WNBA, but with her game, not just her image. So when someone like Reese wins an award for making noise, some veterans like Griner feel that the integrity of recognition itself is being undermined. Still, this goes beyond just statistics. What Angel Reese has managed to do is capture the culture. She's polarizing, she's bold, and she commands attention. And in today's media climate, that's gold. But the question is, should that be enough? BET Sportswoman of the Year isn't just a popularity contest. According to their own criteria, it's supposed to reflect athletic excellence, cultural impact, and overall significance in the sports world. Reese checks the box on cultural relevance, no doubt. But is she truly the most deserving across all categories? That's the debate. And Brittney Griner, from what we're hearing, is done pretending like the system isn't broken. When word of the award broke, a few reporters tried reaching out to Griner for comment. She declined, but a cryptic post on her social media, a black square with a single caption, "We used to care about the game," had fans reading between the lines. Some took it as a veiled shot at Reese. Others saw it as a general expression of disappointment in how the league is being marketed. Either way, it reignited the growing divide between veterans and newcomers, between old-school grit and new-age celebrity. It's worth asking, are we entering an era where performance matters less than personality? Griner's frustration reportedly boiled over during a recent team meeting. According to anonymous sources, she made it clear that she felt the WNBA was being hijacked by clout chasing and that it was time for leaders in the sport to stand up and redirect the conversation. "She was passionate," said one teammate, speaking on condition of anonymity. "She wasn't angry at Angel per se. It's bigger than that. It's about what we're rewarding and what kind of message we're sending to the next generation." Another source close to the team described Griner as fed up, saying that she had even considered skipping press appearances to protest what she sees as the league's prioritization of drama over discipline. And that's not just about BET, it's about the entire system. When awards go to the loudest voice instead of the most dedicated player, what happens to the soul of the sport? Griner has faced plenty of controversy in her own career. She's no stranger to being a headline herself, but lately, she's been trying to shift the narrative, focus on basketball, focus on leadership, focus on being an example. That's why this hit her so hard. It's not just an award, it's what the award means. If you think this controversy ends with a cryptic post and some locker room rumors, think again. According to several insiders, Griner's frustration has been simmering behind the scenes for months, not just with Reese, but with how certain players are elevated by media platforms while others are seemingly erased. And while she's been careful not to make overt public statements that could spark backlash, the silence is starting to feel louder than words. During a recent post-game media session, a reporter asked Griner how she felt about the changing faces of the league. Her answer? Chilling in its restraint. She simply said, "Faces change. That's the game. But the real ones don't need cameras to prove it." That moment went viral, not because of what she said, but because of what it implied. The whispers began again. Was that aimed at Angel Reese? Was it about Caitlin Clark? Or was it a broader criticism of the league's obsession with flashover fundamentals? The WNBA has been working hard to expand its audience. Social media promos, partnerships, crossovers with music and fashion. It's all part of the push to modernize the league. But in doing so, it started to draw a sharp divide between athletes who view themselves as professionals and those who view themselves as influencers. And Brittney Griner? She's made it clear where she stands. To some extent, you can't blame the league. The numbers don't lie. Viewership spikes when Reese and Clark are on screen, especially together. Clips of their on-court interactions get millions of views. Headlines write themselves, comment sections explode. It's good for business. But Griner and others are asking, is it good for basketball? That's where the BET award stings. It's not just a one-off moment. It's the culmination of a trend. And for Griner, who once carried the league through some of its toughest years, both on the court and in the spotlight, it feels like a betrayal. Remember, this is a player who faced international controversy, who survived unimaginable hardship, and who came back to the league hoping to make an impact again. Not as a spectacle, but as a leader. And now, all of that seems overshadowed by viral moments and carefully curated drama. What's more, some insiders claim Griner is not the only veteran feeling this way. There's been a quiet buildup of frustration among players who feel sidelined by the new media focus. Players who were once headliners now watch from the shadows, while the spotlight centers on rivalries, feuds, and Instagram reels. One former All-Star speaking off the record said, "It's like the game doesn't matter unless it has a storyline. You could drop 30 points and no one cares. But if you stare someone down or say something spicy after the whistle, now you're trending." That's the atmosphere Griner is pushing back against. And whether or not she truly wants to see Angel Reese's award revoked, the message is clear. Enough is enough. As for Reese, she's not exactly shying away from the heat. In a recent interview, she was asked directly about the backlash to her award. Her response was unapologetic. "I don't play for anyone's approval. I play to win, and I play to inspire. If that makes people mad, then I guess I'm doing something right." Reese knows exactly what she's doing. Her brand thrives on polarization. She's either the future of the league or a symbol of everything wrong with it, depending on who you ask. And the BET award? It only cemented her role as one of the most talked about athletes in sports today. But that only deepens the rift. Behind closed doors, league executives are reportedly concerned. They want the buzz, they want the headlines, but they're aware that if the veteran stars feel alienated or disrespected, the foundation of the league could start to crumble. It's a delicate balance, hype versus heritage. Some have floated the idea of creating new categories for media-driven awards versus performance-based honors. Others have suggested reevaluating how players are nominated and selected for awards like the BET honor in the future. But that all remains speculation for now. What's not speculation is the growing divide. Griner's inner circle has reportedly advised her to stay above the fray, to let the award speak for itself, and to focus on her own performance. But sources say she's torn. She doesn't want to be seen as bitter, but she also doesn't want to stand by silently while the values she believes in are sidelined. At this point, there's been no official response from BET regarding Griner's rumored displeasure. No statements, no clarifications, no footage of the award ceremony has surfaced. It's almost as if the whole thing happened behind a veil, awarded, announced, forgotten, and then lit on fire by the response. What would happen if Griner did go public? What if she stood at the next press conference and said, "This isn't about Angel. It's about what we're turning women's sports into"? Would she be celebrated as a truth teller or labeled a hater? In today's climate, that line is razor thin. For now, she stays quiet. But the storm is far from over. And if you think this ends with one trophy and one post, just wait until their next game. All eyes are now on the next matchup, not for playoff implications, not for stats, but because the air between Brittney Griner and Angel Reese has never felt thicker. Fans are wondering, will there be a handshake, a stare down, a subtle exchange that goes viral again? Or will it be the kind of cold silence that speaks volumes without a single word? The WNBA hasn't issued any statements, neither has BET, and neither party likely will. Because in this story, the silence itself has become the headline. Griner has long been a figure of intensity, on and off the court. She plays with force, she speaks with conviction, and when she feels something is off, she doesn't back down. But this time feels different. It's not just about personal pride, it's about legacy. Griner knows that at some point the torch is passed, but she also believes it should go to someone who's earned it, not someone who simply captured attention with theatrics. Meanwhile, Angel Reese seems to be doubling down on her path. In recent social media posts, she's shared highlights, fan art, and even memes referencing the ongoing drama. Not directly aimed at Griner, but clearly playing into the narrative. She knows what's being said, she's heard the commentary, and instead of pushing it away, she's feeding it. Not because she wants to start a war, but because controversy drives click, and clicks fuel stardom. This is where things get complicated. Because while Griner is demanding a return to fundamentals, Reese is building her brand. She's doing what every modern athlete is advised to do: cultivate a platform, build a voice, control the story. And she's succeeding, even if that success comes with critics. Griner, on the other hand, is clinging to something that's increasingly rare: purity in sport. The idea that awards should reflect performance, not popularity. That legacy is measured in wins, not likes. That impact isn't a headline. It's a body of work. But in a league trying to grow, is there room for both philosophies? The question now becomes, what happens next? There's already speculation that the WNBA will start shifting its internal strategy for how it highlights players. Some insiders say the league is quietly developing mentorship initiatives, pairing younger players like Reese with veterans like Griner. The hope is that the old guard and the new wave can find common ground, that mutual respect can override public tension. But let's be honest, this is bigger than two players. It's about a sport trying to figure out what it wants to be. Does the league embrace entertainment as its core identity, or does it lean into tradition, discipline, and sportsmanship as the pillars that carry it forward? Right now, it's straddling the fence, and that's what makes this situation so volatile. Because if Brittney Griner, one of the most recognizable and respected players in WNBA history, feels disrespected or discarded, it sets a precedent. It signals that excellence without noise is no longer enough, that you must perform and provoke. Reese, to her credit, has done both. But that doesn't erase the concern from those who paved the road she walks on now. Privately, other WNBA stars have begun voicing their thoughts more openly. A few have gone on record with general comments about the state of the game. Others have dropped subtle remarks during interviews. One coach, during a post-game presser, even said, "I hope we don't lose our soul-chasing algorithms." The line made waves, and many connected it to the Griner-Reese discourse. Even commentators have jumped in. Analysts are split. Some say this is exactly the kind of passionate friction that drives interest, that rivalries are the heart of any growing league. Others warn that when personality becomes more important than principle, the sport will suffer long-term. So what do fans think? Well, social media is divided and intense. Hashtags supporting Griner trended briefly, followed by waves of backlash. Then came the Reese supporters, flooding timelines with highlight reels, affirmations, and calls to let her shine. It's a battle of philosophies, of generations, of what basketball, and by extension sports, is supposed to be. Some fans argue that Reese is exactly what the league needs: a disruptor, someone who draws attention even when the score doesn't. Others argue that Griner's values are the ones that built the foundation, and that without players like her, there wouldn't even be a league for Reese to shine in. But the real question is what happens when this drama makes it onto the court. The next face-off between their teams is already drawing major anticipation. Tickets are selling fast. The game will likely be broadcast to a national audience, and whether or not they exchange words, their every movement will be analyzed. Every glance, every foul, every substitution. That's the moment this goes from story to spectacle, and both players know it. Griner, sources say, is preparing mentally to keep her composure. She knows the cameras will be waiting. She's reportedly told teammates that she refuses to give anyone the satisfaction of a viral clip. But whether or not that restraint holds in the heat of the game, we'll have to see. Reese, she thrives in moments like this. And while she likely won't address the controversy directly, expect her body language to speak volumes. A smirk, A shrug, a celebration, it'll all be read as a response, whether she intends it or not. This is the world they're playing in now, a world where perception matters as much as points, where what's said in interviews gets more traction than what's done on the scoreboard. And that right there is the heart of the conflict. Because while Angel Reese has embraced that reality, Brittney Griner is still fighting against it. As tip-off approaches for their highly anticipated matchup, the league itself is bracing for impact, not because of what will happen on the scoreboard, but because of what this game symbolizes. It's no longer just about competition, it's about culture, identity, the shifting balance of influence in the WNBA. Executives are reportedly holding closed-door meetings about media strategy. The league wants to celebrate its growing visibility, but without letting internal fractures turn into national drama. Sponsors are watching, viewership is rising, and every story like this one pushes the league further into mainstream relevance. But it also comes with a cost. Internally, some players are worried that the game is becoming a soap opera, that real issues like pay equality, team resources, and travel conditions are being buried under headlines about social media feuds. And that's what makes Griner's frustration so personal. She's been in this league when no one was watching. She's flown on the budget flights, played through injuries, done the press when no one showed up. Now, people are paying attention, but for reasons that make her uneasy. Reese, meanwhile, is playing chess on a different board. She knows her value, not just as a player, but as a brand. And like it or not, she's smart about it. Every move she makes, every interview she gives, every image she posts, it fuels the machine. She's not waiting for the league to market her. She's doing it herself. And yet, despite their opposite approaches, both women are undeniably vital to the league's current moment. Without Griner's toughness, leadership, and history, there's no credibility. Without Reese's fire, charisma, and internet magnetism, there's no momentum. One is the foundation, the other is the spark, and now they're on a collision course. When the two finally step onto the court again, it won't just be a basketball game. It'll be a referendum on everything we've talked about. Will Griner's quiet fury show in her play? Will Reese embrace the moment and escalate the rivalry? Or will both women do the unexpected and walk right past each other like nothing's wrong? That's the tension the league is quietly hoping for. Drama without disaster. Buzz without breakdown. But fans know better. This moment is too big, too loaded. Something is going to happen. It might be a foul, a stare down, a timeout argument, even a simple gesture that the cameras catch just right. But it's coming, and when it does, every outlet from ESPN to TikTok will jump on it. The narrative will shift again, and both Griner and Reese will be at the center of it, whether they want to be or not. This is the new era of sports media, and it's not going anywhere. At this point, the BET award itself has almost become irrelevant. It's just a symbol now, a trophy nobody really saw, at an event nobody watched, for a player whose real value exists in the discourse more than the box score. That's not a knock on Reese. It's a reality of how sports culture works in 2025. And that's what Griner is resisting. To her, this isn't just about Angel. It's about the sport she's given her life to. It's about the message being sent to the next group of rookies. That going viral matters more than going all in. And yet, the league may argue, viral is survival. The WNBA has always fought for attention, for recognition. And if this rivalry, this messy, complicated, unpredictable rivalry, is what gets the league into more living rooms, is it really a bad thing? That's the unspoken question behind every headline, every award, every moment like this. And while Griner may not like the answer, it's the world she plays in now, one where the court is only half the battle, and then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The lights were bright. The crowd was louder than usual. Cameras were aimed not at the scoreboard, but at the two players who had come to define a new era of WNBA attention, Brittney Griner and Angel Reese. When Reese's name was announced in the starting lineup, the crowd erupted, but not entirely in celebration. Cheers and jeers collided. Some fans held up posters calling her the face of the league. Others clutched homemade signs defending Griner and calling for real leadership. Then Griner's name echoed across the arena. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She didn't even glance toward Reese's side of the court. Her focus was locked in, but the tension in her shoulders told its own story. The game began as expected. Physical, fast-paced, tense. Every touch of the ball by either Reese or Griner was met with a wave of noise. Every foul sparked debates. Every substitution felt like a turning point. But it wasn't until midway through the second quarter that everything boiled over. Reese drove into the lane, drawing contact from Griner. The whistle blew. Defensive foul. Reese clapped in celebration. Griner stood her ground. The two locked eyes. It lasted just 3 seconds. But in that moment, the entire sports world hit pause. No words were exchanged, no shoves, no taunts, just the weight of months of unresolved tension pressing into a single glance. Social media exploded. Every major outlet clipped the moment and spun it with their own caption. Ice cold. Respect or resentment. The look that says it all. But the game continued. Griner answered in the next possession with a thunderous block on Reese. She didn't celebrate. She just walked away. Reese smiled and shook her head, brushing it off. But the energy had shifted. Every play now felt personal. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, the score was tight. Both players had made their mark. Griner on defense, Reese with hustle plays and offensive rebounds. But the buzz wasn't about the stats. It was about the narrative. After the game, both players spoke to the media. Separately, Reese, ever poised, leaned into the drama. I know people have opinions. That's fine. I'm just doing me. If they don't like it, they don't have to watch. Griner took a different tone. She didn't name names. But when asked if she felt the league was being pulled in a direction that made her uncomfortable, she paused and replied, "The game changes. That's normal. But we've got to make sure the heart of it doesn't get lost." That quote alone was enough to reignite the discussion, and yet again, fans were left split. Some said Griner was clinging to a version of the league that no longer exists. Others argued she was protecting its soul. Meanwhile, Angel Reese? She left the arena, BET award in hand, grinning at the cameras. She knows her presence stirs the pot, and she's fine with that. Because to her, being the center of attention means she's doing something right. But for Brittney Griner, the spotlight has never been the goal. She's chasing legacy, standards, respect earned over time, not clicks earned overnight. So, is this clash really about a trophy? Or is it about a league at a crossroads? In the end, no award ceremony, no stat sheet, no viral moment can fully answer that. But one thing's for sure. The world is watching now, and neither Brittney Griner nor Angel Reese is backing down. As the final buzzer sounded and the post-game headlines began rolling out, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a game. It was a cultural moment, the kind that defines a season, the kind that forces everyone, players, fans, media, to ask the uncomfortable question, what exactly are we rewarding in today's game? For Angel Reese, the answer is obvious. She's built for this era. She's outspoken, fearless, unapologetically herself, and she's not afraid to ride the highs of attention or confront the lows of criticism. Her acceptance of the BET Sportswoman of the Year award may not have come with a speech, a press conference, or a televised ceremony, but it didn't have to. Her message has been clear from day one. She plays on her own terms. And if that ruffles feathers, so be it. And maybe that's the point, because for every person calling for her trophy to be confiscated, there are a dozen others calling her a symbol of empowerment. For every critic labeling her performance inconsistent, there's a young fan seeing themselves in her story. The hustle, the noise, the fight to be heard. But on the other side stands Brittney Griner, who's not playing for viral fame or award show shoutouts. She's playing to preserve a standard, a code, a way of competing that values substance over spectacle. And her frustration is the echo of many veterans who built the foundation, brick by brick, when nobody was watching. What happens when that foundation starts to crack under the weight of modern fame? That's where the league is now, at the edge of transformation, standing between eras. The veterans like Griner are not obsolete, they are essential. They remind us why the league matters, why it was worth building, why it must be protected from becoming just another content machine. And yet, the rising stars like Reese are not villains. They are the accelerants. They're drawing attention, bringing in fans, and making sure the league isn't invisible anymore. Their style is loud, but it's effective. Their approach is new, but it's working. So maybe this isn't a battle between right and wrong. Maybe it's a reflection of the growing pains any sport experiences when it evolves. And sometimes, growth looks like conflict. The BET award, once dismissed as trivial, now stands as a symbol of that tension. Should it have gone to someone else? Should Griner have been recognized for her leadership, her comeback, her quiet consistency, or was Reese the right choice simply because she made the biggest impact? Whether we like the method or not, the truth is, both can be valid. This isn't about confiscating trophies. It's about reconciling values, about understanding that a league can honor its past while still embracing its future. And the only way to do that is for both sides to see each other clearly. Brittney Griner may never publicly ask for that award to be revoked, but her silence, her stare-downs, her subtle remarks, they tell the story loud enough. She's drawing a line. Not against Angel Reese, but against the forces that threaten to turn the sport she loves into a show she no longer recognizes. Angel Reese, for her part, probably doesn't care. She's made peace with being polarizing. She didn't ask to be the villain, but if that's the role the world assigns her, she'll wear it with pride. And maybe, just maybe, this collision, this uncomfortable, unavoidable, riveting collision, is exactly what the league needed. Not to tear it apart, but to push it forward. Because now we're all watching, now we're all talking. And whether you stand with Griner or Reese, you're part of the moment. So the next time someone says the BET award didn't matter, remember this story. Remember how one trophy sparked a fire. Remember how two players became the face of a movement they didn't ask for, but couldn't avoid. And ask yourself, what kind of league do you want to see? One built on legacy or one driven by momentum? Either way, the future of the WNBA will be shaped by moments just like this one. Moments where players demand to be seen, to be heard, and most importantly, to be remembered. Because this is no longer just about basketball. This is about who gets to define what greatness looks like.